Oh, yeah.
Quality effort, that.
Hey, right.
Hello, everybody. Okay, guys, we'll start with a few words from Gareth Southgate before we open up to questions.
I've just had a few words, but really just to say that we're looking forward to tomorrow night's game. Not only the opportunity to qualify for a European Championship, but of course the occasion of England's 1000th international, which is a very special one for everybody associated with the team now and in the past. And as I said earlier in the week, it's great that so many of our former players are coming to be a part of that night. That's very important to all of us, and I know for them it will be something very special. So we're especially looking forward to seeing them.
Gareth, first of all, after all that's happened in the past few days, has it been difficult for you and the players to focus on the game against Montenegro tomorrow night?
Not at all. I think that we've dealt with everything as we have, and the reason we've tried to do that as quickly as possible is to focus fully on the match. And from the first football meeting yesterday morning, that's been our sole focus. Everybody's trained really well. The whole group are together now. Obviously, we lost Fabian Delph, who wasn't going to be able to recover in time for the second game. Jordan Henderson joined us for training this morning. So we're looking forward to getting on with it.
Obviously, a lot of people have been talking about your decision to drop Raheem Sterling for this game. Especially a lot of former players have been saying that they feel that you've maybe overreacted, and this is something that happens the whole time in the game. Are you sure that you made the right decision?
Well, of course, everybody, when you're a leader or a manager, will have an opinion on the decisions that you take. And only those that have been in this sort of position really know all of the detail that's involved in those decisions, all the complexities of any decision that you take. Everybody will view it differently. People will fall into every camp on every decision that you make. So you have to do what you believe to be the right thing. And if you're only prepared to make decisions that attempt to keep everybody happy, then that's not a route that's going to work either, because it's impossible to keep everybody happy. So I have to do, first and foremost, what's right for the country, what's right for the team, and all the while trying to look after the players. And I know that relationship with players, I've been a player, my relationship with managers was always up and down, because you're in the team, you're out the team, and on that alone, you feel differently about the manager on any given day. So that's part and parcel of it. And the most important thing is that you have really strong relationships, that you work through those bits, and the team is always the priority.
Raheem's arguably been your best player over the past 12 months. How much will you miss him tomorrow night?
Well, of course, he's in outstanding form, and he's an outstanding player. So, but we've got a very good team out tomorrow. We're excited to see the players play, and whatever team we put out, we always select a team, whoever's in it, that we believe can win the match, and that we believe can excite the crowd and put on a performance that is full of energy, full of speed, full of technical ability. We're the highest scorers game on game in Europe in this qualification, and I want a performance of high energy and good pressing and attacking football tomorrow.
And Joe Gomez hasn't been playing regularly for you or Liverpool, and in light of what's happened this week, is he in the right frame of mind to play tomorrow night if he's selected?
I think everybody in the squad is ready, and that's it's hardly ever any different. Sometimes you have players that are struggling with injuries or whatever, but everybody is ready for the game.
Harry, you're obviously one of the senior players in the squad. What have you made of what happened on Sunday night, and what was your role in making sure that it was all resolved amicably?
Well, I think as players we have a job that we've got a big game tomorrow night. We're trying to qualify for the Euros, and it's something that we've aimed to do at the start of the year. So we're solely focused on that now. We've moved on from it, and I think it's really important that we put on a performance tomorrow night and get the qualification which we've all wanted.
Are the players in agreement that this was the right decision for Raheem to be dropped tomorrow night?
I think as players, it's not ultimately our decision for the punishment of Raheem. I'm sure a lot of the players have been put in the situation where they make a decision, but it's not their choice in the final. I think Gareth has said that it's his ultimately decision for him, and like I said, we've moved on from it. As players, we've moved on. Joe and Raheem are talking now, so it's good for the team to move on, and it's really important to get 3 points tomorrow.
And are there any cliques in the squad? We've seen in the past in England squads where maybe, for instance, Manchester United players sit on one table and Liverpool players sit on another table. Are there any cliques in this squad, or does everybody mix?
No, everybody mixes. I think you've seen how good the unity in the squad is over the last couple of years. It's been a good 2 years, and the group has grown together, and we're keeping on growing, and that's really important. And no, definitely not no cliques. We all share tables and share jokes and laughs together.
Gareth, obviously James Maddison has been in great form this season. If he is picked to start tomorrow night, what do you think he can bring to your England side?
Well, he's a player of outstanding technical ability. You can see that. He has an eye for an incisive pass. Set play delivery is world class, absolutely top. And he's, I think with his club now in the position as a number 8, he's really learning more and more about the work off the ball. His club are pressing in the way that we want to press, pretty much. I know Brendan has a big focus on that. So when you're in those midfield areas, the work that you do without the ball is as critical as it is with it, especially the higher the level of the opponent and the tighter the level of the game. So he's developing well. He's still a young player as well, and he has a lot to offer us.
Because of what happened in Bulgaria, we had talked a lot about how well the team actually played in that game. Tomorrow night you'll be without 2 of your 3 midfield players, Jordan Henderson and Ross Barkley, but Harry Winks really played well against Bulgaria. Going forward, do you think he's the player who can give you that element of control in midfield at international level?
Well, he's a different type of midfield player to somebody like Declan or Eric Dyer, who've played in that single pivot for us before. He's probably as good as anybody in the country at receiving tightly marked, being able to awareness of pressure. A lot of the pivots that play in England are converted centre-backs. He's somebody who's learned his trade as a midfield player from when he was very young, so he's a different type. Of course, at the moment he's not in Tottenham's team, so that's not perfect for us, but I'm sure he'll work his way back into that. And I think the way that he played in Bulgaria is exactly what he's capable of. He moves the ball quickly, and the speed of moving the ball, particularly against opponents that are going to be obdurate and hard to break down, is very important.
Gareth, you studied in depth the reasons that England had failed to get to major finals in recent years, failed to lift trophies, and one of those reasons was the club versus country clique. You've clearly drawn a line under events yesterday, but how important was it to send the message that when you arrive at St George's Park, you've got to put your club colours behind you or you don't put on an England shirt? Yeah,
I don't see that as an issue for us. I really think that this group of players are very close, and when you're involved in high emotion games, then it really challenges everybody's feelings, and it is a very difficult situation for everybody to come immediately back together. We had that with the Champions League final in a different way. 3 days before we had a major semi-final for the Nations League. I think that was an incredibly difficult preparation for all of us. So this is international football, because we have so many nearly all of our players playing in England, it's inevitable that we're going to have those games and those rivalries. But the players are very, very close, and that's been the case, right the way through the rest of the week. And I don't see that changing because they're too tight for that not to be the case.
Important to send that message that altercations as the team arrive isn't helpful, especially when it's a senior and a relatively junior player in this squad.
Well, I think I discussed everything around that yesterday in detail, and now it's what I saw on the training ground over the last couple of days, full focus on the game, everybody very together, laughing, enjoying their football again. That's where all of us want to be, on the pitch, in the fresh air. The focus in training was good, and the quality was excellent.
Also, looking back at where England had failed to get to major finals was penalties, which you'd looked at, but many people looking back at the 1000th game, Sven-Göran Eriksson saying his biggest regret not getting a psychologist. If you look back, is that penalty shootout win your favourite game in the 1000th?
As a manager, certainly, because of the importance of not having won a knockout game for over 10 years, and the fact that we'd only won one penalty shootout in 7, so they were obviously huge psychological hurdles for the team and future teams to overcome. The drama of the night was certainly one that will be with all of us for a long period of time. So when you look back on some of the highlights of those 1000 games, I'm sure that game will play a big part. And what I'm always saying to the players is, and I've said it before here, every time you play for England, you have the opportunity to create these special memories that live with everybody in the country, and those big nights that everybody can kind of remember where they were and what they were doing, and the colours are so vivid. So that's where you want to be as a player in particular, and we always have to remember what a privilege it is to pull the shirt on.
And Harry, for you, your favourite England game in memory before you were a player and as a player?
As a player, I'd have to obviously say my debut. To play for England is always a dream, a really proud moment, and not the greatest of games at Lithuania away. We managed to win the game, but it wasn't the greatest performance of all. But no, it was probably my favourite game. But hopefully, from now till my career finishes, I have something that can top it, and that's the aim.
Gareth, you said a little bit earlier, first and foremost, you have to do what's right for the country. The first thing you have to think about. Is dropping England's best player with 10 goals in 10 what's right for this country?
I think I have to always look at what's the right thing for the team to perform now and in the future, and ultimately that will be what's right for the country. So, of course, my decisions are the only ones that get tested by the game and the outcomes of the game and what happens over the next months and years. So that's the cross you have to bear as the manager, if you like. But I don't take enjoyment out of any of those sorts of things. But you have to make decisions. When you're in charge of anything, you have to make decisions. And your decisions have consequences, whereas everybody else's opinions, their team never plays, their team's never tested on the field. And of course, they don't always have all of the facts because that's not possible for everybody. So I understand that landscape, and I'm comfortable with it.
Are you concerned in any way how this very public slap on the wrist will affect your relationship with him going forward?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, I know as a player my relationship with my managers and how I felt about them changed day to day. And there were many occasions when I had the hump with them, usually when I wasn't in the team. So I understand that. I hope that time takes its course on those things, and that there are lots of... as a manager, you hope that you bring lots of good moments for players. There are those occasions where you give them the debut, you give them the chance to play, but there are inevitably occasions when you don't start them, where you have to take them off. and that will always be the landscape. I hope that all of my players know that first and foremost I care about them, that I want to be fair with them, that I want to do what's right for all of them, and that they can lean on me when they need me. And I also accept that, at times they're not going to be bouncing with joy when they see my face walking through the meal room. So that is part and parcel of being a manager. And if you're not up for that challenge, then better to go and do something else.
Is it fair to say he's got the hump with you right now then?
Well, I wouldn't imagine that he's hugely enthusiastic, but I can understand that. In the end, he's with the group. That's the most important thing. He's a massive part of what we do, has been, will be. He's with us for the game tomorrow. He's back with the team on the training pitch, enjoying his football, trained superbly well, as he always does. So for me, the thing is finished.
Harry, you've obviously played at Anfield. You know what kind of atmosphere that can be. Can you understand his reactions and why that might have spilled over?
Well, it's a big game, the atmosphere at Anfield, and I think you've seen in Raheem's statement he's brought out that the emotion probably got the better of him. He's apologised, and like I've said, and like Gareth said, we've moved on from it now. We're not looking at that. We've moved on since Monday, and we've trained hard, fully focused on the game because it's a big game. We want to qualify for the Euros, and that's what we're aiming to do now.
You're obviously on the cusp of qualifying for a tournament that could be played largely at home. Just what sort of added incentive is that for you? How special would that be for the players?
Yeah, it'd be really special to play in a major tournament, and walking out at Wembley would be something that you dream of. So people say it would give us a little advantage as well. So no, it's something we know that the crowd get right behind us at Wembley, and the support over the last few years, especially since I've been playing, has been unbelievable. So like you say, it's a big game tomorrow night, and one that we're all looking forward to and we feel prepared for.
And Gareth, can you just quantify for us just how special it will be for you to be the manager of England on this occasion?
I'll do that when we've qualified.
Well, more the 1000th game, really.
Oh, sorry, yes, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the names, Sir Alf Ramsey, Sir Bobby Robson, and then the managers that I played for, who I had enormous respect for and were a big part of England's history, then that's something that's of huge pride for myself and my family. So I'm always conscious of that, yeah.
Gareth, since taking the role, you had to be much more than a manager, an ambassador, a spokesman, a statesman almost sometimes, especially away from home with England. How difficult has this week been for you? More difficult than in previous weeks and previous problems you've had to overcome?
Most of them are pretty difficult weeks, Ian. I don't remember many. I don't know what a normal week with England would be, frankly. So the key is always to go and win the football matches, and that's where my focus has been for the last 48 hours and for the 3 weeks before that. So if any manager of any big club or big nation knows that all of those situations are difficult. We're under huge scrutiny for performance and everything else, and so I haven't viewed this as any more or less difficult than anything else.
There'll be a lot of young players eager to see what your starting 11 is tomorrow. Like Sir James Maddison, you've already spoken about, but Callum Hudson-Odoi as well, back fit now, playing well for Chelsea. You gave him an England start before he'd even made his Premier League debut for Chelsea. Has he got a good shout for tomorrow?
Well, it's hard to pick a team because the level of the players, the equality of the players in terms of their ability is so tight, and we're always trying to win games, but also find out more about certain individuals as well. We've tried to do that over the last couple of years because we think that's an important part of preparing us for the future. So we will be very young, for sure. I mean, I know against Spain it was one of the youngest teams we'd fielded for decades. I have a feeling we'll be younger than that tomorrow without having had a chance to work it out. So that is obviously has some weaknesses, but it has some enormous strengths as well in terms of the enthusiasm, energy, motivation, I think it's a team that would excite people.
Harry, does the pressure really start when England qualify tomorrow because of the fact that most of the finals for you will be at home?
Playing for England, there's always pressure to win games. So every game that we play in, whether it's at Wembley or away, there's some sort of pressure that we go there and get the 3 points, especially in qualification. We had a setback against Czech Republic and we wasn't happy as a team, and we knew that the Bulgaria game was big for us, and I felt like we put on a real good performance in difficult circumstances. So no, we're looking to build on the Bulgaria game, and tomorrow night's going to be a test for us, but one that if we play to our ability and play to our strengths, we should overcome.
And it's rare England don't score multiple goals, but at the back, keeping them out, that's what's going to win a trophy if we're going to win a trophy next summer.
Yeah, we know how important it is. Obviously, we've coming off the back of a clean sheet, but no, we've conceded a few sloppy goals recently. I'm not proud of it, and we've been working hard on the training pitch to make that better. We know the firepower we have in our squad. We've got to a stage now where we're scoring near enough in every game, and we're creating problems for other people's defences. So my job, and I'm sure all the rest of the defenders and keepers, and as a group, we'll try and shut the shop up and start keeping clean sheets a lot more regular.
Gareth, last one from me to you. Tomorrow's not only a 1,000th game, but England's last game at Wembley this decade. Are we coming towards the end of this decade in a better place now than we have been arguably since the end of the 60s?
I think it's difficult to compare teams across generations because you only have to look at the faces in the lineup for games in 2004 as an example. Teams filled with Champions League winners, and players with over 50 caps right throughout the squad. So there's got to be some context to that. I think what is exciting over the next 5 years or so with England is the youth of this squad, the fact that they're gaining experience all the time in big matches, and one or two more players still underneath this group in terms of age who are going to come in and I think be outstanding players for England moving forward. So in that regard, there's I think very exciting times ahead. But of course you have to deliver, and we've had teams of potential and promise forever. These guys went further than nearly all of those teams 2 years ago, and I don't think we were the most experienced or talented group that we've had in that sort of 30-year period by any stretch, but they delivered, and that's huge credit to them. So now the challenge is to keep going on and doing that.
Okay, we'll end it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.